What is happening, sports fans? It's your main man, Matt, from the DFS 5 pack, rocking it solo. It is Friday, September 17th. We got 15 MLB games to crush. I'm excited about it. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed that Thursday night football game last night. Pretty wild one for a Redskins Giants game. I played the showdown. I played the showdown, played a little bit heavier than I would have liked. Did not work out so well. Made a giant stack, and yeah, that Slayton second drop touchdown really cost me. We move on to tonight, though. Had a really good MLB day slate, even with Ian Anderson in all my lineups. So sometimes, obviously he was popular, and I played some smaller person, higher dollar contests. So, yeah, it was a nice day. I'm excited to get after it tonight. I love these MLB Friday night slates. Not too many left, so we got to enjoy them while we got them. And, yeah, that's all I got as an intro. Let's dive right in. Oh yeah, for all our members, Ryan and I are going to be making our members only NFL video this afternoon, obviously, and then we'll each do our own thing where I make a GPP video with Patriot and he does his own cash video. So yeah, excited about NFL week 2, and excited about tonight. So let's get it. All right. First game, or no, we're not even going game by game yet. So sorry, I got excited because I like some pieces of that first game. So as far as pitchers go, solid group tonight. I think there's, probably 6 to 8 guys you can really take a long look at. And starting right at the top with Zach Wheeler, who's having a phenomenal year. Had struggled a little bit, but back-to-back really, really good starts. A lot to like about Wheeler here, going back to his old stomping grounds. He looks like the clear top SP on the slate. He's expensive, though, so I don't think he's a must by any means, and I like the pivot to Buehler, who's coming in with much less ownership. Also having a phenomenal year. I think these two are probably neck and neck for the NL Cy Young Award. No real difference, home or road for Buehler. Tough spot, tough ballpark. Obviously, ballpark downgrade for Buehler, but he's good enough where he can have a great start anywhere. So I'm interested in tournaments. I do think Wheeler's the guy in cash games. Logan Webb, has come back down to earth a little bit. In Colorado, not a good spot, but still came back down to earth after, a bunch of 27 pluses in a row. Sorry, he had that one 22 against Oakland too. So I guess in Colorado he was still good. Against Cubs in Chicago, not as much. And not sure I'm liking the trend I'm seeing here. Good ballpark, obviously, for Webb, but I never like picking on Atlanta. So kind of like Buehler, I get the case for Webb in tournaments. I just think I'm more likely to go to Buehler personally, at least as of right now. All right. Chris Sale, he looks like he's in a really good spot. It's been hard to trust Sale, and he's not throwing a ton of pitches, but he's also priced down a little bit tonight. So in a good spot against the Orioles at home, assuming we don't hear Sale's on a 70, 80 pitch limit. We know he's not going to go 100 plus, but assuming we don't hear he's not more limited than he's already been, I think he looks like, one of the top pitchers on the slate, if nothing else. Same goes for Dylan Cease, who, again, was not good last time out. I actually used him, and he has been better at home. Man, the more I look at Cease, actually, I get it. His upside is as real as anyone on the slate at this price point, but as chalk, that's not really for me. I'm going to say that on a 15-game slate. I wouldn't mind it if I liked him. I just don't love him here. Obviously, a much different spot last time out against the Red Sox. He started off the game really, really good, then got into a lot of trouble, walked some guys. Man, I certainly get it on paper. In cash games, I think, potentially you're looking at 2 of him, Sale, and Wheeler. In tournaments, I'm probably out on Cease. At least that's of right now. Corey Kluber. I don't think we can go to Kluber here. He's too expensive for what he offers right now. I'd rather go to Luis Castillo. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm a huge Castillo fan. He's a guy that is better at home, unlike, Tyler Mahle, who's a lot better on the road. This is a get-up spot. I could easily see, pitching Castillo and Buehler here and hoping for a pitcher's duel. Obviously, only in tournaments. Really tough spot against the Dodgers, but he's priced down, and I'm interested, if nothing else. And I'm sure that at that price point, Marquez will get a lot more love, even though I don't think Marquez will be chalky at all either. And I'm interested. He's priced up a little bit. We've talked about him a couple of times recently. Yesterday, I know their game got postponed. He was going up against Ian Anderson, who I used. Much better spot here against Washington. Not the greatest spot in the world. They don't strike out a lot, and they've actually been a lot better than people would have thought after they made those trades. But still, his talent level at 8,800 in a semi-good spot is still, wildly in play for me, if nothing else. Ryu, I don't really want to spend 8,600 on Ryu. Like, I get it. He falls in line with, like, Castillo, Marquez. I just like those guys more. Ian Anderson, liked him a lot yesterday at home against the Rockies. Much different spot here. Better ballpark. He's better at home. I don't know. I don't think this is the slate for him, even though, there is a reason he was popular, and I liked him a lot yesterday, so I'll say that. Just guys in better spots, I feel like. Plesac is not one of them. No, thank you. Luis Patino is one of them. He's another guy, though. It's like really hard to trust him, clearly, as evidenced by his game log. I'm a Patino fan. He's one of the better pitching prospects in baseball. I was on him for his first really good start against the Yankees. But he's just so inconsistent. The upside, massive games aren't really there. I certainly get it. Kind of ceased to me. Not going to be surprised if these guys pitch well. They're in very good spots. But also, I think their ownership is way elevated because of the matchup. And while I get that, I kind of like taking the shot. I just think Buehler's a much better pitcher than Cease. So give me Buehler. I know he's a little bit more expensive, but that's just how I feel about it. Baumgartner, no thanks. Man, Josiah Gray's interesting because I think that he's definitely in play. See something real quick. But I also think Colorado is definitely in play against him. Look at the numbers, the home runs he gives up. He struggles walking guys. Colorado's awful on the road, but, Washington's a pretty good hitter's park. I'm interested in a Colorado stack. They're not going to get any love. These Friday night slates, kind of ownership, you can mostly throw it out the window, except when there's cores. Well, we don't have that tonight. They're not crazy cheap. They're not crazy expensive either. They're going to come in with very low ownership. And against a guy who has had a lot of trouble with home runs, I'm interested. On the flip side, I think you can also make a strong case for Josiah Gray simply because, kind of like Patino, one of the better pitching prospects in baseball, really good spot at home against Colorado. That's all it is. All right, moving on down. Taiwan Walker, no thanks. Chris Flexen, no. Hauser, nah. Can't do Hauser here. He's pitched well recently, though. Nice to see him throwing a ton of pitches. I'd beware, though, because St. Louis start, obviously he was amazing, complete game shutout. And then in Cleveland, they don't have to worry about him hitting, so that might have kept him in the game a little bit longer. Just something to note. I could be off there. I'm not really looking to use him here, although I don't think he's crazy at all, given how he's pitched lately. Velasquez, no. Eliezer Hernandez, nah. Corvin, no thanks. Mikolas, no. Will Crow, no. It's just not even the game log. I heard he was getting a little bit of love, and I was surprised by it. Let me see something. Yeah, he is getting a little bit of love, and if he's going to get a little bit of love, man, definitely the guy for me down here is going to be Brady Singer against Seattle at home. Listen, he was not great last time out against Minnesota, and this is definitely another one where if you want to, stack the Mariners here at no ownership, I get it. I just talked about the Rockies. I couldn't argue with anyone who likes the Mariners. That said, man, Singer is too cheap here. I don't get it. He's way too cheap at 5,300. So if I need a cheap guy, he's definitely it for me, for sure. Not looking at anyone else down here really, even a little bit. All right, so man. I know it's tournaments and I would not play this in cash games. But if I'm making one lineup right now, I'm really intrigued with Buehler Castillo and hope for a straight up pitchers duel here. Two very good pitchers. One legit ace in Buehler and another number one. I'm not going to call him an ace, but I think he's a solid number one. He's a top 30 pitcher in baseball, easy, if that's how you want to say it. All right, talking about some sticks now. Let's go game by game. So don't have a ton of money to play with, but I mentioned I like the Rockies here. So obviously Story, Crone's pretty affordable. He's cooled off. Sorry, but we know he's got big time power. So in the stack he works. I wouldn't necessarily want to one off him, but in the stack it works well. Garrett Hanson, I'm hoping he's leading off, although I don't think he will because he wasn't supposed to be yesterday. Obviously, playing really good baseball right now. Sorry. As always, my wife was bothering me right when I start a video. What else is new? But that's life, right? So if Campson is leading off, or even if he's not leading off in the stack, I like him a lot. He's just playing good baseball right now. He won't be leading off though, so as a one-off, couldn't really see myself getting there. These guys are just going to be under 1% owned. McMahon, who's starting to find his form a little bit, mentioned Story. In their outfield, Blackman, Tapia is really cheap. He just had a nice game. Not really. I mean, I'll say this, like on a 15-game slate, it's hard to get excited about the Rockies, but Josiah Gray just gives up bombs. The Washington bullpen is not good. So there was a spot for the Rockies to go off on the road. I think this is it. That's all I'll say. Not looking at the Nationals too much here. You can always use like a Juan Soto, but just too big of a slate for me to want to use for me to want to pick on Marquez. Indians and the Yankees. So the Yankees are crazy, crazy cheap. And they're getting quite a bit of love because of it. Gallo at 4,200. Like, why? These guys should be all 5K plus, like closer to 6K. Then I'd like them a lot in tournaments because they wouldn't get a lot of love. I mean, Gallo's on fire right now. Stanton continues to see the ball well. Aaron Judge, obviously, always in play. He's the most expensive one at 5,100. He's actually the coldest of the bunch, for his last 10. Gardner, presumably hitting at the top of the lineup at 2,400. The first baseman, both very affordable. DJ LeMahieu, 3,900. I mean, this team makes a ton of sense in cash games. It's not even that Plesac is a gas can. He's not. I think Plesac is probably a little bit more talented than the public gives him credit for. That said, like, this is not the spot for Plesac, and all this power in the Yankees lineup at these cheap price points, makes a ton of sense. But as far as the Indians go, Kluber hasn't been like lights out by any means. I mean, he had a couple starts, obviously, that no-hitter where he was amazing, but the Indians are another one. I mean, they are going to get no love. Sorry, obviously my internet's going a little bit slow today, guys. I apologize. J-Ram, Reyes, always in play, and tonight's no different. And you don't want to talk about low owned. I mean, these guys will get no love. On the Colorado ownership, it'll be about the same, I think. All right, Minnesota and Toronto. So we've got Ryu against Pineda. Not looking at Pineda, that's for sure. Ryu, I think you could make a case for Ryu and the Minnesota Bats. I'm not excited about either, but Ryu has not had a very good year in terms of consistency. He's gotten lit up a bunch. He's had some very good starts mixed in there. But if you want to go out of your way and pick on the Twins and think Ryu sucks tonight, I get it. They've got power up and down their lineup. Obviously, guys like Buxton, etc. Always in play, and tonight's no different. As far as the Toronto side goes, same thing. The only guy really getting a ton of love is George Springer. And again, he's really good. He makes sense, but not sure how much love this full stack gets. And they're always in play. I mean, slates like this, it's not like this where they win slates. Vlad making a strong push for MVP. I've been saying Ohtani has it locked up for weeks, and I'm hoping that's the case because I have a from before the season, so I'm hoping that cashes. But man, Vlad is making it difficult, especially with Ohtani maybe not pitching again. Recency bias is real. I could now finally see Vlad winning it, and I'm scared. So yeah, I mean, he's making a strong push. He's wildly in play. The Blue Jays stack just looks good here at low ownership. I think they're another day where they're wildly in play. Orioles and Red Sox. So if Sale were coming in as like chalk amongst chalk, I could see using a couple Baltimore guys here, but on paper, no. Red Sox, though, for sure in play. Keegan Aiken's not good. Especially not good on the road. And I mean, he's not good anywhere, but on the road specifically. Boston, a ton of power in their lineup. Schwarber, lefty on lefty. Verdugo's a guy that's been hot. So I like Verdugo a lot, maybe hitting at the bottom of the lineup. Renfroe crushes lefties. Kike, JD Martinez, Devers. I mean, these guys are affordable too. I imagine Boston's going to pick up a lot of ownership as the day goes on, and I get it. If they don't, I mean, they're one of my favorite stacks on the board on paper, like for sure. I mean, they're in a better spot than the Yankees. The Yankees are cheaper, but on paper, I would expect the Red Sox to go off more often than the Yankees. All right, Dodgers and Reds. So obviously, I like the pitching in this game. I got the pitchers in my lineup. All that said, I'm not looking to pick on Buehler, but Castillo's a big wild card. So if you want to talk about stacking the Dodgers here, I mean, yeah, Seager cheap as hell. Like Castillo's not having an amazing year, and while normally I'm always team Castillo, and I probably am here. The Dodgers are one of the rare teams where, like, man, I can stack them any day, and today's no different. Obviously, Muncy in or out of their lineup will change things, but Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Mookie Betts, they're always in. I mean, these guys are really freaking good, and they're always in play. All right, Pirates in Miami. Wouldn't it be very MLB DFS for this game to go off? 11 to 10 game in Miami between the Pirates and Marlins. I probably need to make a game stack of this just in case it happens. But realistically, no. I mean, Will Crow getting ownership makes me like the Marlins a little bit. But the Marlins are also getting a little bit of ownership, which makes me like Will Crow a little bit, which makes me just cross it off completely. I mean, Jesus Sanchez crushed a day slate a couple days ago with 2 late home runs. I actually used the Nationals pitcher and was cruising. And then Sanchez at 25% ownership, 2 home runs late in the game. I think De La Cruz homer too. Yeah. So I'm more team Marlins than I am team Crow, but that would, ownership will change a lot there for me. And as it stands now, I probably won't get to either side. Phillies had Mets. I ended up rolling the Cubs after they got down like 7-0 early. Harper is just on another level right now. So I have zero interest in Taiwan Walker. I'm more interested in the Phillies stack. It's kind of hard to get there. They're expensive. But man, Taiwan Walker, like we know he can get lit up. So, I mean, all these guys had a really good game yesterday. Damn, JT Realmuto stays hurt. Damn, wow, man, he got hit late. Wow. Obviously, their lineup, kind of like Muncy with the Dodgers, changes a lot with him in or out of it. So just beware of that. And as far as the Mets go, no thanks against Wheeler. Just not the spot. Tigers and Rays. I'll say this about the Phillies, about the Mets. If I'm making the 150 lineups, yeah, I'll probably have a couple of Mets stacks, but I never make 150 lineups. I'm usually a four lineup type of guy, making 4 tonight. I won't use the Mets stack. Tigers and Rays. Casey Mize against Luis Patino. As much as like Patino is very hit or miss, I can't see stacking Detroit on this slate because there's so many better teams. You want to use a Candyman, Candelario, who homered late last night? Sure. Nico Goodrum. Yeah. Also homered. I could see using a couple one-offs against Patino. These guys are cheap. Well, Goodrum's cheap. Candelario's expensive, which will mean he's unowned, but probably not where I land. And the Tampa stack, yeah, I don't hate it. Specifically, Brandon Lau. They got lefty power. They got righty power. I mean, their whole lineup's in play. Cruz day-to-day, so watch for that. So Cruz is going to be in today, so that helps their lineup. Cruz, Meadows, Rosarena, all these guys are in play, and I could see planting my flag on Tampa here. I think I like Like on paper, I like Boston more, but if Boston's going to be 5 times as owned as Tampa, give me Tampa. All right, White Sox at the Rangers. So I talked about Cease a lot. On paper, he looks like one of the better plays on the slate. He's cheap at 9,100. Texas is a great matchup. He's a lot better than McGill, but I do get McGill vibes here, though. Like chalky Cease here. Now, the matchup is a lot better for Cease here than it is McGill. Cease is a much better pitcher. I just feel that way. Like on a slate with so many good arms, why would you go to – I don't know. I just don't love Cease here. That said, I'm using Castillo against the Dodgers right now. So who am I to talk? I'm kind of the pot calling the kettle black, if you will. Really, from this game, it's all about the White Sox, and the White Sox stack also wildly in play. Guaranteed 9 at-bats, priced up a little bit, which, again, I think they get decent ownership, but not, like, chalky at all. And, well, when I say chalky, relatively, they might be one of the higher-owned teams on the slate, but because it's such a big slate, like, their raw ownership isn't going to be that big. And I like them as a stack. They got cheap guys to work with the expensive guys. They make a lot of sense in all formats. Sorry about that, guys. I lost connection for a second. All right, moving on. The White Sox obviously in play. I'll say this about Taylor Hearn, though. He's been okay. Certainly could get blown up at any time. I'm not like afraid to pick on him. But he hasn't been, well, as I say that, he's given up multiple home runs in 3 of 4, 7 home runs in those 4 games. So game luck kind of looks like Josiah Gray. So, man, especially like if I use the Rockies, the White Sox could easily be paired with them. The White Sox are cheaper than the Rockies too, which is just nuts. So yeah, White Sox high on the short list in all formats for sure. Like on paper, I like them more than the Yankees too, and the Yankees are getting more love because of the price tags, and I get that. But give me the White Sox for sure. Cubs and Brewers. We got Hauser against Davies. Hauser's in pretty good form right now, so I'm not looking at the Cubs. If you want to roll with like an Ian Happ, who I've mentioned, a while ago, a couple weeks ago now, is just starting to really get in good form. I mean, he's seeing the ball well. This is more of the hitter he's been, or they expected him to be. Really, this is more about the Brewers, though. They're another team that's really, really cheap. Yelich at 4,200. Escobar is okay at 46. Certainly not breaking the bank. Not cheap either. Wow. Okay. Because Tellez is on the IL. You got a $2,500 Vogelbach there. So, I mean, listen, Milwaukee stack, maybe not the most exciting one on the board. Colton Wong leading off at 3,900 makes a lot of sense. They I think work best as filler pieces, and especially in cash games, I get it. In tournaments, kind of like the other teams, though. If you like them, do your thing. I mean, the raw ownership just isn't going to be that high on anyone, them included. All righty, Diamondbacks and Astros. So at first, I had Lance McCullers going last night, but I think they changed things around with Framber Valdez getting hurt. You got a bullpen game for the Astros. Their bullpen's pretty good. Arizona's not. I'm not looking at the Diamondbacks here. As one-offs, sure, but they're even. Oh man, when they were like 2,200, I liked them a lot more. Yeah, nah, I'm not looking at the Diamondbacks here. And as far as the Astros go, big game for them last night. Had a couple big games in Texas. I'm not afraid to pick on Bumgarner at all. Man, he's not in great form right now, and this is not a good spot for him. Carlos Correa, awesome against lefties, seeing the ball well right now. Gurriel, same type of thing. Alvarez crushes lefties. He's 4,900. Man, the more I look at this slate, the more I like Houston. Bumgarner giving up a lot of home runs. Houston not going to get a lot of love. Yeah, I like the Astros here. I mean, what's not to like? They're one of the best offenses in baseball. They're not going to be overly popular. They're facing a pitcher who gives up home runs. Kyle Tucker's been one of the best hitters in baseball over the past couple months. Yeah, I'm definitely Team Astros here, and they're surely on the short list in my 3-4 entry max stuff tonight. I almost said the Seahawks. It's certainly football season. We got the Mariners at the Royals. Brady Singer against who's pitching for Seattle? Chris Flexen, Ryan's boy this year. He's used him a bunch. I've not been really on the Flexen train. He's another guy that's been a lot better at home. Not really a lot better, but better at home. His past 2 starts have taken down his home numbers. Before that, he had been a lot better at home. Yeah, I'm not looking at Flexen at all here. And the Royals, it's kind of the usual suspect for the Royals. Like Perez is always the top catcher option. He's got 45 bombs, tied with Johnny Bench for the most ever. Certainly going to break that record. He is creeping hard in the MVP race. If it weren't for Vlad and Ohtani, he'd win it. I think he's locked into third. I don't think he can really move up from there, but he's a solid third. Like, I could see him getting a couple votes higher than that, and like basically all the third place votes. I mean, he's having a monster year. Props to him. And then I mentioned it. I like Brady Singer here. Like, I do think that certainly a case where you could like. The reason I have Castillo in here now is because I feel better about him. The spot's better for Singer, but Singer's one of these guys. I think you can make the real case for using Singer and also the Seattle bats. Singer's cheap as hell. He's way too cheap for his proposed upside, given the fact that he's got a full leash, et cetera, et cetera. 5,300. I think Singer's definitely on the short list. And then on the flip side of that, though, like, not a great ballpark, but it's not like it's a downgrade for Seattle. I mean, you want to talk about an unowned stack. These guys are going to be maybe even lower than Colorado. And that's intriguing. If it were a smaller slate, I'd be more likely to get here. But if it were a smaller slate, I'd be more likely to get everywhere because it'd be a smaller slate. So I don't know. Seattle, they're not going to be on any late slate or anything because they'd be a team I could see getting to there, like, and not using Singer if you were getting love. As it stands now, though, I think I'm more likely to get to Singer, but it's close, and ownership could obviously sway that. All right, moving on, Padres and Cardinals. So, man, Vince Velasquez going for the Padres. Wow, has their pitching staff fallen on hard times? I mean, you think about the guys that are out for them: Blake Snell, Dinelson Lamet, Mike Clevenger. Who else is out for them? Is Darvish hurt? No, he's just been awful. Musgrove, who's obviously been pitching. Really, Clevenger, Snell, Lamet are all hurt. Chris Paddock's hurt. I mean, they got Velasquez and Arrieta in their rotation right now. That is ugly. So, I'm not looking at Velasquez here. It is a good spot for me. It's a righty-heavy Cardinals team, but we saw how that worked out for McGill. Velasquez is always a guy I don't mind picking on. I'd like it if he were getting ownership. He's not. Goldie continues to rake, though. Like St. Louis, I think, is a kind of sneaky stack, excuse me. With the usual suspects, they're cheap as hell. So that might bump up their ownership a little bit, but they deserve it. They're not going to get a lot as far as raw ownership goes. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Cardinals look good. And I also think the Padres are kind of in play. I don't love them here. They're also getting like an okay amount of love. Nothing crazy as far as raw ownership goes. Probably about as much as they deserve. Mikolas is not a guy I'm afraid of. And I don't really like the full stack, but I do like, what's it called? Like Profar, probably leading off at 2,100. Yes, please. He's got power, speed, upside. I mean, that might be a lock for me. He's not even getting a lot of love. Lock him in at 2B. I like Tatis a lot. You can play him at multiple positions. He's got dual eligibility, obviously going to St. Louis where his dad used to play. I kind of like that narrative for him. So even if it's just like the 2-man, like, yeah, you can play, obviously move that around, throw in Machado. So yeah, I mean, it's easily doable. And then you can throw in, like I mentioned, I mean, throw in like a Trevor Story. I mean, yeah, you know how I'm thinking. So obviously other guys throughout the slate that I'm going to like. So yeah, even Boston here I like a lot too. So there's still a lot of good spots on this slate for sure. San Diego, Even if you just use Profar as a one-off, I like that a lot, personally. A couple games left. We got the A's and the Angels. Hard to speak on the A's. We don't really know who's pitching for the Angels yet. Check my lines real quick and see if we got anything. One thing to note about Buehler is that Jesse Winker did get recalled today. Don't really care in his first game back. It doesn't make me like the spot anymore for him, obviously. We don't know who's pitching for the Angels yet. That said, it's not going to be some stud because they just don't have any. And Oakland stack is going to be very low owned. So that in itself puts them in play. They've crushed recently. They won me the slate yesterday. Harrison was monster. Two worst guys were like Olsen and Marte, and I don't expect that to last long. So, yeah, I'm interested in Oakland here. On the night slate, although it might only be like 2 games. Yeah, I mean, obviously I like them on a 2-game slate, but even on a 15-game slate, they're on my short list for sure. As far as the Angels go, not really interested. I don't hate using a couple of them. They had a good game yesterday. Rengifo. Yeah, I'll shout him out, actually. Monster game yesterday. 20 spot. He's been pretty good. So another guy is a one-off, 2,700. Certainly helps make a lineup work. Gosselin's got power against lefties, but Rengifo, a switch hitter. I think I doubt he'll get pinch hit for. Mayfield, another guy who seems to be having an everyday role right now. I don't hate those guys. And I will say Ohtani hit the ball hard a bunch yesterday. So not going to be surprised if one of these days he finally goes off. All right, last but not least, we got the Braves and the Giants. Logan Webb hosting Ian Anderson. I mentioned that Webb hasn't been like amazing lately. He's still been pretty damn good. Tough ballpark for Atlanta. Not interested in the Brave stack. I think Webb is more in play for me personally. Kind of the flip side though with Anderson and the Giants. Anderson, he was good against the Marlins, like strikeout wise, but still looked shaky. I don't know. I mean, I liked him yesterday at home against the Rockies because I'm a believer in his stuff. But today, man, the freaking Giants are expensive. That said, Belt is on fire, and he just missed a home run yesterday. I mean, this ball was gone in basically every other ballpark. So I know that he's playing in San Fran again tonight, but clearly that's not a big issue to him because he hits for a ton of power here. I like Belt a lot. So, again, another guy is a one-off. Like, shoot. I mean, this is another slate. I don't think you have to like fully stack, although the chances are more likely that a pitcher or pitching staff is really bad. I like Belt a lot as a one-off. So, yeah, I mean, maybe you take out Machado here. Although, man, he hit the ball hard. He's another guy I like a lot. Yeah, I like Machado a lot here too. He hit the ball hard all over the place yesterday. His only hit was like a bloop single, excuse me, but I think he's going to go off soon. And I kind of like him here. Yeah, so that's what I got for you guys. I mean, there's obviously the thing about slates like this, and I like them and love them because of this. There's so many good spots. Like, you could legit name, 10, 15 teams that make sense. And on smaller slates, you get a lot of love. Let's see what would happen if we went down from Castillo to Brady Singer. Yeah, I mean, obviously that helps a lot. Now, all of a sudden, you got those 3 San Diego guys. Belt in there. You can go like Story, Blackman. Maybe our boy Hanson's leading off. All of a sudden you get like yeah, something like that. I mean, maybe you don't use Hampson. The catcher you go. I mean, shoot, he had been struggling a lot better recently. Give me Austin Nola here. And then all of a sudden, is this Tapia? You got Verdugo. Damn, Tapia must be 38. Yep. Yeah. Sucks. I mean, it is what it is. You don't have to use the Colorado guys either by any means. You can also switch up your SPs. I mean, there's plenty of guys here to use, like without a doubt. I mentioned I like Houston also, so they're another team I like a lot. Yeah, definitely a ton of good players. So let's say we didn't use Colorado here also. Let's say we went, and I don't even care in a lineup like this how long these guys are. Let's say we went Bogarts, and I got a couple ideas here. Bogarts and JD, 42 left. I mean, now you can go Grisham in that stack, Pham in that stack, Renfro, Gallo as a one-off. I mean, the options are basically endless. And then we'll do one more because I just feel like it. Can also move Tatis to shortstop, obviously. But I was going to say, what if we did Correa, Yorga? I mean, there's so you can go. This is where maybe you go Tapia instead of Tapia. Instead of Belt, this is where you go Gurriel. Who's going to get no love. You got 46 left for outfield. And you got JD. I mean, sign me up. That looks like a pretty damn good lineup. Not going to lie. Oh, man. All right, guys. I could do this for hours, but don't really want to get locked into anything as of right now because it's so early in the day. So gave you a little extra because I was feeling it. I like this slate quite a bit. It's fun. Just know that no matter who you roster, you're going to be leaving guys off that you like. It's just the nature of the beast on these big boys, on these massive slates. So know that going in and know that there's a big opportunity that guys you don't have will go off because you can only roster a small percentage of the field. All that said, let's rock it tonight, guys. Let's crush it. We got a fun one to get after. We got NFL this weekend, MLB tomorrow. So, yeah, if you want more videos, more content, more any of that stuff, go check out the DFS 5-pack. We'd love to have you. Appreciate you guys as always. See y'all soon.